Hey, Bill, Dennis Fighter. Hey, thanks for getting that questionnaire back so fast. Actually, it came back faster than I thought it was. So, anyway, I'm going to go through estimating first in this sample company, and then I'm going to move over to my other company because I have better data. But this is my home building company, and I do have some pretty decent estimates in here. I don't know what level you currently do your takeoffs, so I'm going to show you two ways of doing this. Um, look at this one first. Um, so this is Sage 100. It used to be called Master Builder. It's the same product, new name, and a lot more features, but it's now called Sage 100. So if you had heard of Master Builder from some of your friends or other contractors, it's the same product, new name, and some enhancements. So one of the things we can do here, and I'm just going to bring up, this is one way, and let me just hide a couple columns here. I thought I did already, but take out this and this and this and this and make it a little bit easier to read. So this is something you could have as a template. And so here's, your pre-construction cost. And so then you can start this out blank and start dropping numbers in. You drop your lot cost in here, and then you start putting numbers in as they pertain to this house. Now the way we do that is we have values back here. This is called project value. So you can do some thinking up front, and then it'll do the calculations for you. So in this case, we're doing a raised floor option. So we put a 1 here, and it'll bring in that option into the pricing as well. In the concrete flat work, we're doing the standard, but we're also doing a 3-foot walkway upgrade. And we have an extra patio that we're doing, 620 square feet. So as I put these in here, it's using that column that I hid, the formula column, but it'll bring in the information. So I go through all of this, and you can stop this if you want to see it in more detail. But like here's my plumbing. I have under the slab, whirlpool, the rough in, and over here I've determined that these are going to be subcontracted costs, which typically is the way. And so if I come in, I can actually come in here and say, you know what? Let's go find a site work item here. Who's the vendor that's going to do this? I'll use one. Oops, grading guy. I use Hogan's Grading, and so when I pick him, I now know what sub I'm going to use, and I know what price he gave me. He gave me this 13,500. So now I can come up here when I'm all done, and I hit this button called Export, and I can print all of my subcontracts. If I'm buying materials for the job, like maybe the appliances, I can create the purchase orders, and I can take all of this information that I have in this cost column here out to my budget so I can get actual versus budget variance reports. And so this is one level, very high level. I know I have site work. I'm going to get somebody to do it, and it's going to cost me $13,500. The culvert's $800. So I get prices, and once I'm done, I can now put markup and overhead on that to give a price to the owner. So that is a high level, and a lot of people do it in that format. So I'll say yes here, and now I'm going to go into another job, which is in a lot more detail. And it'll take a second because there's a lot of items on this job. So if I go into floor framing and sheeting, I don't even have any lines that are on here. So hang on a second, I'm doing a bunch of calculations at the same time. I mean, these things can go on for probably 1,000 rows or something like that. But the run length for beam run 1, run length for beam run number 2, 3. And so we can do this and then cost this out as well. So I don't know what level that you do yours in. If I have finished grade and landscaping here. These happen to be subbed. Again, this probably has all of the detail in it. So, because a lot of home builders, custom guys, they'll probably do their own concrete and their own framing and then sub everything else out. And so that's why some of these are in pretty high level of detail. So that's two ways to do it. Your choice. And third choice is you can, if you are really happy with your Excel spreadsheet that you've had for a long time, we let you use that, and we basically can copy and paste information right from that into the budget for you. So the nice part is if you use our hosting, it's a really truly networked thing. So if you use our hosting service, which is a minimum monthly charge, anywhere you are with an internet connection, I don't care what you have at the other end. It could be an iPad, an iPhone, a tablet. It could be an Android. It doesn't make a difference. just needs an internet connection, and you can be using the software just like I am right here. So it does that. Security to keep people out of the things you don't want them in. So long story short, if I go to project management here and I'm in job, actually if I go to project management and I hit my F7 button, I didn't say who's allowed into project management. If I go down to the next level and hit F7 again, who's allowed into job reports. And so each menu option can have its own security. So we can keep people out. And then in the new version, if you only want Bill to see his own jobs and Joe to only see his jobs, there's a way to set that up when you set up the job to begin with. I don't think you'll ever maximize the system. I've got home builders that, and obviously nobody's where they were years ago, but at the peak they were probably doing 250 to 300 houses a year using this. I had subcontractors. I had a tile contractor. Was doing over 10,000 different houses per year, and that's when things were going really, really well, by the way. Payroll is built in. I'm going through your list here, so I'm going to go through some of the highlights. If this makes sense, we can get into more detail later, but if I go to set up a vendor right here, and I have one I want to show you, hang on. This one right here, if I go down the bottom right-hand corner on this vendor and I look at certificates, then these are the three things that I want to track. This is the date that they expire, and then when I go into accounts payable or I try and create a purchase order or subcontract, it's going to warn me. And I have this set up as a hard stop on the pay, so I can't write a check to this company until this date gets updated. And so that's a great way to do it. So we track all of that. We can write out, the system can write out warning letters automatically. If I go into vendor again, I go to my favorite vendor here. It's the only one that's a lot of information. Home Depot. If you look across the bottom, I have a bunch of different tabs. So if I want to look at every job that he's a subcontractor on, it would list each and every job. What POs have I written? What POs are closed? How many open invoices? What have I paid him? List of the payments and the certificates. So here's a subcontract again. If I want to see this subcontract, I can double click that and it takes me right back to the subcontract. Number one is pricing. Number two, if there were notes in here that it had some exclusions or exclusions either in the notepad on the top or in here, it would be shown. And there's a paper clip up here. It's gray right now, so there's nothing attached, but if you wanted to scan in a copy of the signed subcontract, you could do that as well. Kind of go back to that paperless thing that you're looking to do. So that's vendors. Job cost does include all the burden. So when you charge Dennis, which is me, to a job and I make $22 an hour, and I have my Social Security, my federal employment tax, my sick pay, my vacation pay, all of that is not job charge to the job with that $22. So you're getting true job cost reporting. As compared to some systems, you're only getting the dollars of salary and you're not getting all those add-ons. A couple other things I'm going to go over here, and I always like to apologize. I'm working off of this menu on the side here, and I'm going to hide that real quick. Only because I've been using this software for 11 years. I'm spoiled because I know where everything is over there. Most of the people actually work off of this menu, and these are the icons across the top. So if I'm a project manager or the owner in this case, and I need to see what's going on with a project, pretty much everything I need is right here on one screen. So if I want to look at the job, it's a double click here. If I want to look at the subcontracts, create a change order, look at my budget, look at the schedule for this job in a Gantt chart format like Microsoft Project. I want to see the daily field reports, or I want to see the cost to complete this. All of these reports are here, and this is easily customizable by you. So you don't like this report, then we take it off, or you take it off. If you don't like this one, you take it off, or you want it up here, you can put it up here. But oh, by the way, you probably don't have it, but here's a punch list. As that final walkthrough with the owner, you can create that punch list on your system so everybody sees what needs to be done, and you can email that out to people that have work that has to be done. So I'm going to show you one of the reports I think is, two reports I think that you should find very useful. One is this job status report, and I'll tell you why in a second. This happens to be a remodel job. So here's what it does, and this is why we have 1,300 clients. Now, I don't talk to them all the time, but I do talk to some of them, and I always ask them when I talk to people, what's their favorite report? Which ones do you find yourself using over and over again? This is one of them, and so what it is I've got my original contract value at the top here, and as change orders become as change orders get approved, it adds it in here. So I now have my new contract, and then by cost code or item, by cost type, whether it be material, labor, or subcontracted, I'm looking at my original budget, my current budget, what I spent for the month, what I've spent to date, and then a quick little projection over here. But what's really nice about this is, if I'm an owner, I'm going to look at here and say, well, I had a $2,900 budget, but I figured out how to spend $10,000. How the heck did I do that? I can now double click on that, and it'll take me back to the detail, and I can see that, you know, Lee was on that job on these days charging this labor to it. And if I want to scroll back and see the pay card, I could. I'm not going to do that, not useful, but I can see what charges were put on that each time. Same thing if I go down another page, and I want to see how I spent $6,700 on rough hardware. Again, I double click it. There's I was Home Depot, and I can double click that and go back to the invoice that was entered in accounts payable. And so not getting up from your desk, not looking for paper, everything's kind of there at your fingertips. The other report that home builders and GCs find very valuable is this one. It's called a subcontract audit. And so what you have here is, this is one job 27, for my electrical subcontractor. And these three items were on his original subcontract. So he had a $2,900 subcontract when we originally bid the job and awarded it to him. But since then, we had change order 1 come up, we asked him to take care of. And don't ask me why an electrical guy is fixing a repair leak, but that's just the way it worked this time. So I gave him a $500 change order. We've both signed it. So now he has a new contract value of this. And we've also sent out change order number 2 for $1,850. So when he sends that back, which he should, his new contract value will be that. And then on the following page, it shows me what he's invoiced me, kind of a summary of where we are to date, and outstanding balance, what's still sitting in accounts payable. And so without getting up from my desk, without bugging accounting, without bugging the project manager, I can see the status of the approved and open change orders, what's still sitting in accounts payable, and what's been invoiced. And to me, it saves a lot of time, because I used to have to do that. I would get calls from the field asking for the information. I'd run around the office looking for that stuff for 20 or 30 minutes. And so all of it will be there at your fingertips. Anyway, Bill, pretty high level. If any of this makes sense, want to see more, want to see a quick proposal, let us know, and we'll take care of that for you. But I don't mind jumping on the phone with you for 45 minutes to an hour or so and show you what else it can do for you, especially if you have detailed questions that you want to see. Anyway, have a great week, and profitable 2013, which is, by the way, just around the corner.